I want you guys to take a moment and visualize your future. What do you see? Maybe better relationships with your friends and family? Maybe more creativity in your art or music? Maybe you're seeking fame or wealth in your future. What if I told you that hard work and determination are the only things that will influence a greater outcome for your future? What if something as simple as destiny, luck, and the way you arrange your bed to sleep at night can greatly affect how your future outcomes? This is the Chinese practice of feng shui, which is the art of placement. I practice feng shui in my daily life, and I have for the past 3 years, but the earth energies greatly influence us all, whether we realize it or not. I will briefly outline the origins, theories, and practices of feng shui. Feng shui is based on philosophy and science, and according to Keswick in the Chinese Garden, the origins of Chinese religion start with the idea that there was a god that was born 25,000 years ago. This god died, and his head cracked open and became the sun and the moon. His blood flowed into the rivers and the seas, his hair became the plants, his mountains were the limbs, and his ancestors were men. So this is the basic principle of Taoism, which is the Chinese religion. And Taoism is a numerology system that determines the placement, how the placement of the earth affects humans. They use the I Ching, which is their holy book. It's a numerology system that's practiced with divination in order to see how corresponding elements reflect the elements of people's lives. But philosophy is not the only thing that's influenced feng shui. It's also influenced by the sciences, such as geology, astronomy, and architecture. It's considered the earthbound equivalent to astronomy, where astronomy looks at the stars and the corresponding of the movements of stars and the moon and its influence on the earth, like how the moon controls the tides. Feng shui looks at the earth and how the energies of the earth corresponds to humans. Around 1046 BC, according to the Encyclopedia Britannica, feng shui was developed as Chinese moved out of caves into a more agricultural society, and they looked at ways of controlling this or harnessing this energy of the earth. Okay, so we've seen a little bit about the origins. Now let's go on to the theories and the practices. This is called a bagua, and this is used by Chinese interior designers in order to determine placement. This inner circle came from Taoism and the I Ching, and these represents different directions. It's called the trigram, and each direction has a certain element that it's corresponding to, and bringing each element with its opposite will reflect certain things in your life, like wisdom and knowledge and marriage and relationships. So in controlling a balance of these energies through placement, they believe that that you can correspond beneficial parts of your life. This is a lopan, and this is a more detailed bagua. It's the compass that people use mostly for surveying sites when they're building in architecture or doing city planning. So feng shui is used in both the East and the West. Obviously, it's most common in the East. It's used for urban and regional planning and also architecture. Grandmaster Yap in the movie The Classical Feng Shui talks about the influence of this building. This is the Bank of China, and the X's that it's symbolizing is supposed to be very bad feng shui, and the Chinese government has actually spent upwards of $35,000 US in order to counteract the bad energy that this building is sending to the businesses surrounding it. So it's really believed in China. It's also used in the West. If you've ever heard of it, you've probably heard of it as a designing principle. It's also used in businesses. The lighting and the placement and colors determine consumers and how much they buy. Maybe you've gone into McDonald's, and the reason why their colors are red and yellow is because those colors have psychological effects that make you hungrier. This is a principle of feng shui. So this is something that an interior designer in the US would use because our houses are square. So this is supposed to be the octagonal bagua, but it's rectangular. Scientists are increasingly looking at the effects of the environment on health, psychological health, and environmental health. So they were trying to move the furniture in order to increase the health of the grandma, but then the person knocked over the chair and she's back to death. But whether it works or not is not in the scope in this speech to determine or not, but I've outlined the origins, theories, and practices of it. So hopefully next time you walk into your room, think about what your environment reflects about you and arrange accordingly. Thanks.